Coming up,
gunfire in D.C. claims the life of a Prince George's County firefighter. I'm Sandy Kozel.
Members of the Leesburg Police Department threatened to quit over the proposed vaccine mandate. I'm Valerie Bonk.
How are vaccine mandates working at Maryland's colleges? Turns out pretty well. I'm John Doman.
It's 9 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Vicki Barker in London. After 126,000 gallons of oil spills into the Pacific off some of California's most pristine beaches and wetlands.
We are investigating the source and potential cause of this incident.
Martin Wilshire, CEO of Amplify Energy, the owner of the pipeline involved. CBS's Lilia Luciano says the spill is hurting more than fragile ecosystems around Huntington Beach.
There's also an economic impact. The beach is now closed because of the hazard and to make space for the cleanup. But the beach might remain closed for weeks, if not months, according to the mayor. And there's so many businesses all along the shore that depend on beachgoers to survive.
Facebook denies the claims, but Facebook employee turned whistleblower Frances Haugen was on CBS's 60 Minutes last night, telling Scott Pelley fanning hate speech and the misinformation that undermines democracy has effectively become the social media giant's business model.
Misinformation, angry content is enticing to people and keeps them on the platform.
Yes. Facebook has realized that if they change the algorithm to be safer, people will spend less time on the site, they'll click on less ads, they'll make less money.
Some of the world's richest and most powerful people really wish you didn't know about the latest leak of millions of sensitive financial records.
The Pandora Papers are financial documents leaked by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists based in Washington, D.C. The papers involve some 35 current and former national leaders and hundreds of officials in 91 countries. More than 700 Pakistanis are named in the papers, and Pakistan's opposition is calling for their resignations. The papers also disclosed offshore accounts and properties owned by Jordan's King Abdullah. A palace spokesman says that information had not previously been disclosed due to privacy and security concerns. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
And the Nobel Prize for Medicine goes to
David Julius and Ardem Pataputian for their discoveries of receptors for temperature and touch.
In Houston, shock and grief after 3 valet parking attendants were killed by a car involved in a police chase. Dawit Waldo knew one of the victims, 18-year-old Fenan Misha.
He was such a kind, nice, but most importantly, very responsible kid.
Problems at PetSmart. Bianca Augustin is with United for Respect.
PetSmart leaders have described being overworked, perpetually understaffed, and grossly underpaid. And virtually all of them are worried about the level of care they're able to provide to the animals.
A number of PetSmart employees called leaders at the chain point to reports that dog deaths linked to its outlets have doubled since a corporate takeover in 2015. This is CBS News.
Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Because the way you care is anything but ordinary. Only Eggland's Best.
9:03 Monday morning, October the 4th. Cloudy, warm, and humid today. Frequent showers, highs into the low 80s. Good morning, I'm Bruce Allen.
And I'm Joan Jones. And the top local stories we're following this hour, the Prince George's County Fire and EMS Department is mourning the death of one of its own, a firefighter who died in a shooting Saturday night near Nationals Park.
The Prince George's County Fire EMS Department said it was with great sadness that it announced the death of firefighter Gary Stanley. It says the 44-year-old Fort Washington, Maryland resident was a career member of the department with more than 19 years of service, assigned to Station 824 in Accokeek. Union Local 1619 issued a statement of sadness and regret, saying Gary would be remembered most for his compassion, great laugh, and contagious smile. He was among a crew of firefighters and medics recognized in 2018 for rescuing 3 children from a burning home in Temple Hills in 2017. Sandy Kozel, WTOP News.
2 other people were shot and wounded. Anyone with information about this case is being asked to call D.C. police.
D.C. healthcare workers who remain unvaccinated following last week's deadline to have at least the first dose now face suspension or termination. The Washington Post is reporting nearly 2,500 workers remain unvaccinated, with some 70% seeking a religious exemption. The D.C. Health Department says healthcare employees could lose their licenses if they remain unvaccinated without an exemption, and fire department workers could be suspended or terminated. The department continues to review exemption requests and says employees will be subject to weekly COVID testing.
Police officers in Leesburg, Virginia spoke out during a town council meeting. They're warning about what could happen if the coronavirus vaccine is mandated.
Leesburg Police Department employee Josh Carter said during a town council meeting that the town could lose several police officers if they're required to get the coronavirus vaccine.
The loss of officers is on you, and I'm going to come back and ask what your plan is to keep my family and my neighbors safe with little to no officers patrolling our streets or our schools.
The proposed policy would require all employees and certain contractors of the town to be fully vaccinated for the coronavirus. They would get a 90-day notice if it is approved. Leesburg Police Department employee William Butterfield.
And you guys will be losing a lot of money that you invested in me. Be losing that and a lot of really good officers like me.
Valerie Bonk, WTOP News.
The coronavirus vaccine is mandatory for all students and staff at public colleges in the state of Maryland. And now the state university system says those mandates seem to be working.
The number of students who are being kept out of classrooms or have been kicked out of school until they get the shots can be measured in the dozens on each campus. The Baltimore Sun says at College Park, for instance, 79 of over 40,000 students at the University of Maryland had their course registrations canceled. Among the more than 22,000 students at Towson University, it was only 42. At UMBC, just 30 of the 13,000 plus students there. The school with the lowest compliance rate is Coppin State University in Baltimore, which says a big reason only 62% of the students are fully vaccinated is because many of them are taking online classes. John Doman, WTOP News.
New places to live and new businesses could be coming to the White Flint area of Montgomery County.
A new multi-use community is planned for here on Executive Boulevard near Montrose Parkway. It would be called Rose Village. It would include 7 new multi-story apartment buildings, each with between 2 and almost 400 apartments. Of the 2,060 new residences, 15% would be designated as affordable housing. All but one of the new buildings would have retail and office on the ground level. Planners say the project aims to transform what was a single-use office park campus into a compact community with 2 metro stations within walking distance. In Rockville, Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
Coming up, police in Prince William County search for a man they say has been approaching young girls outside a middle school. It's 9:07.
If you live in the counties of Fairfax, Arlington, Prince William, the cities of Alexandria, Fairfax, Falls Church, or the towns of Herndon, Clifton, and Vienna, your personal property taxes are due October 5th. The safest, easiest, and fastest way to pay is online, by phone, or by mail. Visit your local jurisdiction's website for more information. Again, personal property taxes are due October 5th throughout Northern Virginia. Message